December 5th, 2022 meeting. We'll start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first item on our agenda is County Attorney Matt Shipman.
I do not have anything to report unless you guys have specific questions for me. Other than I did look at Leslie's phone. She's on the agenda. I think everything else is just appointment. Yep.
Okay, with no questions, we'll just move right into Leslie Blakley.
I'm just here requesting signature on our third quarter voucher reimbursement from Indiana Department of Transportation. I'll send this with a blue ink pen. This one does have to be signed with blue ink. And just as you'll see here, our total allowable for the year is just under 400,000. We have, between the first and second quarter, had requested reimbursements totaling just over 203,000. This quarter is notoriously our low quarter for expenses. The fourth quarter is where all of our insurance expense comes into play, and some other larger expenses that we have from staffing perspectives as well. So we are only requesting reimbursement for $79,346 for the third quarter. So I'd be glad to answer any questions.
No questions? Any questions for Leslie?
I have none. I will make a motion to allow Commissioner Banks to sign the voucher reimbursement.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Scott Wagner from the Health Department with board appointments.
Good afternoon. Okay, it's here also if you have any questions or want his opinion on any of this. Don't know if anything you want me to talk to first about the appointments. These two were approved in the October meeting, which is our fourth quarter meeting with the health board. For Margaret being reapproved and for Dr. Sadler to be approved to replace Mark Garris.
Can you just discuss the requirements?
Sure. So under the state statute, it does pass that 2 of the 7 board members are physicians. And with Dr. Sadler's appointment, that would be correct then. It does say that it gives a list of different occupations or past occupations for people to be on board, which includes pharmacists, veterans, nursing, hospital administration, anybody that medical field would be appropriate, as well as 2 member or a member at large. So in the current board, we have just 1 physician, we have a pharmacist, we have a veterinarian, and we have 2 at-large members on there. So we have 7 right now, and a dentist, sorry. So those are the current ones. If you approve that, the next one we'd have 2 members at large, a veterinarian, a pharmacist, and then 2 medical doctors. Those are the requirements. It also comes with a political affiliation. It's a 7-member board. It needs to be 4 to 3 Democrat versus Republican, Republican versus Democrat. Those are the requirements at this time. There is legislation being proposed in this next cycle at the state level by the Department of Health, the state, to change that, to have no political affiliation and to broaden the scope of people who can serve on it, as well as the number of people serving on the board, depending upon the population of the county. So those are proposed legislation things, whether they'll be passed or not.
Is in that legislation, is that also where it kind of allows for more decision-making from, on behalf of the Board of Commissioners?
Right, so the law already changed on if there's a public emergency order that's been declared by the governor. The local boards of health cannot do more restrictive orders beyond the state one unless the political body approves. So if it's a county health department, the commissioners would have to approve any more restrictive orders than the state at that point. If it's a city health department, then the mayor would have to approve it. So that's already changed. So no matter what the health board might want to do in the future, if there's a statewide public health order, commissioners have to agree that 2 to 3 or 3 altogether to approve that change. So say we had just a fictitious bug out there that made people sick and ill. The governor says, we have a public health order, these things have to be done. The local board of health could not come in to Whitley County and say, okay, we're doing all this beyond what the governor says without your approval. That's already set in stone. I don't know what the new legislation might look like. I don't think they're planning on changing any of that. I think that the legislation that they're looking at is changing health officer and health board, what that might look like in the future, as well as funding and changes to programmatic things at the health.
And currently, Dr. Burkett is the health
Yes,
officer.
he is a health officer, has been. And
So does that allow for you to be a voting member of the board or no?
And the way the structure is, the health board oversees Dr. Burkett. And they don't really have a direct daily supervision on that. I could obviously ask Dr. Burkett to institute something at the health department. And then the health officer is over the employees, administrative wise.
Okay, we have 2 nominations for appointment and reappointment to the health board.
I think in reviewing the 2 people for reappointment and just in conversation and doing a lot of digging and what these people, what their credentials are, I'm comfortable with Dr. Amy Sadler staying on the board. But I think the second appointment is something that I would like to table. This board is obviously very important, so we really want to vet who we put on there as our appointment, because obviously the board is in charge, right? So I would make a motion that we reappoint Dr. Amy Sadler and we leave the second, I guess, appointment vacant for now and table it until the next meeting.
And just for a point of clarification, Dr. Sadler is a new appointment, not a reappointment. Is that
Correct.
correct?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
She would be a new appointment, never has been served on the board.
So we have a motion to accept the nomination or to appoint Dr. Sadler to the board as a new appointment. And also included in that motion is to table the reappointment of Margaret Malcolm. Do I have a second?
So we're just, I guess I don't understand, we're tabling Margaret then to bring back next meeting?
I think for further review. So it's not that we're
And
removing.
not necessarily, yeah, her, but the appointment
Yeah.
spot.
Do I have a second? I will second the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And opposed, the same. Motion carries 2 to 1.
Here, do you have anything else for the health department? Questions or anything? I've been trying to keep you apprised of the Governor's
Yep,
Public
and
Health
that's
Commission. I sent out several emails on that. The last one really gives you a step-by-step of what the state's wanting to do. There is a massive amount of change in that. This is probably the largest change to the health department since the 1930s. Obviously with that, if you read through that, they're wanting a 20% buy-in on the funding, which could be several $100,000 from the county. This would include, if you accepted the changes, this would include at least 4 new people to the health department to meet all those requirements that they're asking for. It's a huge change. We would be adding 5 to 6 or more programs to the health department. It would have to be more employees. We'd have to have more space. It would be a large thing to do. As of right now, legislative wise, the counties do not have to buy into that. Counties don't have to sign up. They would continue to receive the same funding they do now at this point. But then, of course, that all hinges upon the next legislative session at the state and whether they would buy into the funding and the law changes that the state department's going to. I will keep you guys informed on any emails I get changes because it will start here in January, the legislative process and how it goes.
Where do they expect the funding to come from?
I don't know. They're asking for $50 million for the next 5 years. A total of $250 million to be given to public health, not only at the state level, but then the local levels. And we could see right now we get local health maintenance, we get $20,000 on that. We're looking possibly up to $300,000-$400,000 is what they would expect as a change to the. But then, of course, along with that becomes a lot of work and more personnel to meet those quotas of what they want us to do. So it's a lot. It's a big change. Really. So I'm trying to make sure it's not a surprise. Any other questions?
There's a lot of RSV and everything going on right
Yes.
now.
So Dr. Saneker, who's from Parkview, keeps us updated usually a couple times a week on what we're looking at. Our RSV is on the decline right now, but flu and paraflu is increasing quickly. A lot of sickness going around. If you look at the hospitals, a lot of sickness going around. We had on average 6.5 people a day test positive that we were reporting for COVID. So that's people going to the doctor's office, people going to the hospital. So you imagine people getting COVID and not going there too. So you're seeing a lot of illness at this point.
So they're still testing for COVID then?
Well, yes, when you go to the emergency room or your doctor's office, they will run tests for you. Doctors are just trying to, there's strep, there's RSV, there's flu, there's all kinds of tests they could run, and they're just trying to, what are we looking at based upon your medical history and your age to make sure they give you the right prognosis in medicine. So, yeah, there's all kinds of tests.
Are the COVID tests any more reliable than
They're
they
the same
have?
COVID tests as before. And Dr. Burkett can attest to this. Any person with a large viral load, no matter what kind of virus it is, probably will tip off those basic tests. It's just they're looking for DNA or RNA or antibodies or antigens, depending what test it is. And if you have a large load, they're just so positive. So.
Yeah.
But yes, a lot of sickness going there, so we just definitely encourage people to stay home when they're sick. Wash your hands before eating and touching your face, especially. So, the normal stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Nathan Bilger with Plan Commission and BZA appointments.
Thank you. Have a handful of openings, which I sent you a memo on a while back, and I know a couple of them you want to proceed with now, and still are investigating a couple other nominees. So the ones that I have as appointments and reappointments. Number one is Sherry Ayers as the appointment to the South Whitley Plan Commission. She's one of the 2 extraterritorial jurisdiction members. She's had they don't have very many meetings, but she's attended 4 out of 5 of their meetings. Actually, now it's 5 out of 6 since they just had one last month. So that's appointment number 1. Appointment number 2 is to the county BZA. Danny Wilkinson, which is reappointment. He has been the chair of the BZA for, honestly, I don't know how many years, and he's been on the BZA since a long time. Let's just say a long time. I, again, don't know the exact number of years, but he's a wealth of knowledge and serves very well. So that's appointment number 2. And then to explain appointment number 3 for the audience's benefit, Doug Wright is currently appointed to the County Plan Commission, and he serves on the County BZA as the County Plan Commission's representative, because they have to appoint to the BZA one of their citizen members. Doug expressed interest in being only on the BZA, basically tapering down his time involvement. So he would like to step into the position that will be opening with the term ending of Tim Vanahan, and then he would resign his remaining term for the County Plan Commission, which, as we've talked about, leaves that position open, and I think we may have a nominee to investigate on that one. So if that's agreeable, then Doug Wright would be the 3rd appointment, again, to the County BZA. That then leaves, as I mentioned, the County Planning Commission seat vacated by Doug, and then Doug Graff is the current ETJ member for Columbia City, and I understand there may be some discussion on reappointing him or not. So, or if there's another member that you might be interested in. So again, we've got some time before the next year. Couple meetings still yet to go for those. So, any questions for me? Okay, I do have official certificate of appointment. If you wanted to sign those, if you want to appoint them.
So the first document that we have is for Tim Vanahan. And this would be for the reappointment, but it's my understanding that he's not wanting to be
Right,
reappointed.
so that should be written for Doug Wright, and at the end it says that he succeeds Tim Vanahan.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we do that so we can
Yep,
monitor.
I understand. Yeah, I see it. Member succeeds Tim Vanahan. Yep. And you're right, it does state Doug Wright.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Doug Wright to the BZA.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Anything further? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries. Second document is for Danny Wilkinson. And this would be a reappointment. I would entertain a motion for a reappointment of Danny Wilkinson as the citizen member of the Whitley County Board of Zoning Appeals.
I will make a motion to reappoint Danny Wilkinson to the Whitley County BZA.
Second.
A motion and a second. Anything further? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Carries. And the third document that we have is for Sherry Aries, and this would also be a reappointment. This is for the Town of South Whitley Advisory Plan Commission. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve Sherry Ayers for the South Whitley Plan Commission.
Second.
I have a motion, a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. I do know that at this time, Travis Baker has interest in serving on the county plan commission. And I do know that Nathan has taken the correct actions to vet him out, make sure he's eligible. So, I don't know, how would you like to move forward?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Travis Baker to the Columbia City Plan Commission.
We have a motion.
Or, I'm sorry, Whitley County Plan Commission.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And you'll just
I'll give you
provide us
the
with the official document for that.
week before his term starts.
Yep.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the Drainage Board reappointment. Is anyone here to speak to that for, this would be a reappointment for Mr. Mike Schrader.
I currently sit on the Drainage Board, and Mike is an active participant. He shows up to all the meetings and has gained a lot of knowledge over the years that he's been on it. So it would be my recommendation that we reappoint him.
Is that a motion?
I will make a motion to reappoint Mike Schrader to the Whitley County Drainage Board.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. While we're talking about board appointments, I'd like to express my interest in being appointed to the Regional Sewer District.
I would make a motion to appoint Commissioner Banks to the Whitley County Regional Sewer District.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. And abstaining. Late last week, and this is not an agenda item, I'm tacking this on, we received a couple documents from Elevatus for stormwater permits at the site of the jail. And Tony is just asking for a signature. I know that early on in the process, we named the board chair as the authorized signature for these documents, but I just wanted to bring it forward for full transparency. It's just a stormwater permit application with the city of Columbia City and with IDEM, and I'd look for commissioner authorization to sign these documents.
After looking at the documents, the IDEM one, I don't have an issue with. However, it seemed like there may have been some questions about the stormwater application for the city and our part and how that was going to be divided up and how we pay for that. And if it's okay with you too, I would like to table that until we know what our portion will be to pay for that stormwater.
Sure. I think that it's a covenant, right? Like it's something that we agreed to in our purchase agreement, and I'm not sure how it relates to this document, but I think it's worth investigating.
Right.
And so I will sign the IDEM document and just ask for your initials next to my signature. Next item on the agenda is payroll and accounts payable.
I had a chance to go up and look over payroll and accounts payable. Everything looked like it was in order, so I will make a motion that we approve payroll.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Okay, I would entertain a motion for payroll.
I will make a motion to approve accounts payable.
Yep, sorry. Okay, I have a motion for accounts payable.
Second,
A motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Okay, the last item on our agenda is our previous meeting minutes. These minutes are from our November 21st, 2022 meeting.
I'd make a motion that we approve the November 21st, 2022 meeting for the commissioners as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Matt, do you have anything else to add?
No, other than probably maybe need to talk to you guys about that stormwater permit application. I understand why. Do that.
Is there anything from the audience that anybody would like to add today? Tiffany, anything else? Commissioner Trump?
Yeah, I do have one thing. We've been made aware through the year that the bond for the government center is coming off, and it would provide additional funding for us if we would make a conversion of that bond to jail bond. And I'd like to make a motion that we approve sending the bond conversion of the government center to council, which would help with the jail funding.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Hearing none, the motion dies. I apologize. I'm a little bit taken off guard here because I didn't, that's a lot of information there. And I'll have so many questions on that.
I would agree. I know that there's been some discussion on that, but I guess I would just like to see what all that entails before agreeing to that. Since this is I guess, the first time we've really discussed it.
Well, I think we've discussed it before. It's good. The tax rate is already in with our taxes, and it wouldn't make a difference. It wouldn't raise taxes at all, but it would give us a little bit of a leeway with that $2 million bond. We could approve a $2 million bond according to Baker Tilly that would help us at least give us a little bit of leeway with the jail if there was issues that we had with any funding with the jail. And I'd just like to see us go forward with that. And I understand what you're saying, but I think that we need to keep that on our radar and make sure that we do consider that.
Go ahead.
I understand what you're saying, and I know that there's been some questions on how we're going to fund the jail. And I think that we need to sit down with our financial advisor and I guess really figure all that out.
I just
I would
asked
like a
that
full
I would
picture.
like to be in those meetings as well, the treasurer, that way we know.
Sure, absolutely. So you
All
guys
the
are up to
details.
speed. I guess I would like to sit down with them and see what we have available, because it seems that there are some things in question. So it's not that I won't support it, but I just want to make sure that I fully understand it. as we're all aware, we're very over budget on the jail. So I just want to make sure that we're doing what's right for our taxpayers and really vetting all of it out and making sure that what we're doing is the right thing before agreeing to that.
I would just offer a point of clarification. We're not over budget. We don't necessarily have a budget without a guaranteed max price. So I would just refrain from saying that we're over budget because we don't know what the budget is quite yet.
Sure, I guess I'm just going by what our financial advisor had initially told us, around 25 million. So
For bonding.
for bonding.
Of course, there's other revenue sources that are under consideration, one being the bond renewal. But I just can't at this time support that without really taking a deep dive and investigating that. I come from the mindset or the philosophy that it's good government to reduce the tax rate when you can reduce the tax rate. And that, you know, and I'm not convinced that renewing that bond is necessary at this time based on previous conversations that we've had with Baker Tilly. And, you know, if we receive a guaranteed max price and it's something that we just can't possibly move forward with without, then I would consider that down the road, but not today. Just think being responsible with tax to the taxpayer when we bond a building, we do it in good faith that when we pay that building off, the debt's paid off. We're not going to renew the debt for something else. Is there anything that you have to add?
I do not.
And I have nothing to add, so I will adjourn the meeting. Thanks for coming.